how professional, her level of professionalism, right? So we're no different, and other people are no different from us. When they meet us, when they see us, often based on how we're dressed, opinions are formed. And for us, being black, African American, there's already an opinion when they see us or meet us, and it's usually not that favorable. And I like telling the story. I'm in pharmaceuticals, and I have worked in this market for some 30 years. And I was in Dallas and was going to visit one of my accounts, and I was in this big clinic and punched the elevator button. The door opens, and there was this white lady in there. She was nicely dressed. The door opened, and I'm dressed. I'm in nice suit, shirt, tie. Got my brief, everything, and I walk in, and she sees me, and the only thing she saw was my skin. So she clutches her purse, and she moves over to the corner of the elevator. And it just blew me away. It really kind of hurt me, to be honest with you, seeing that happen. And I'm like, I'm the last person, to rob or do anything to you, and she's going to do that. But she did it because of this. That's all she saw. She didn't see that this guy might be worth more than I am. So my reaction to that to her would not be my reaction today to that situation. So what I did when I saw that and it all kind of came at me at once, I just kind of looked at her. I reached out, I grabbed my wallet, and I pulled it, and I moved to the corner of the elevator, which was not right. I was reacting to her, but I was so bothered, and I spent a long time being bothered by that, and today I would probably have spoken to her and just put her at ease, but I was younger, and that was my response. So, how you're dressed and how you present, it means a lot, but people don't necessarily assess or evaluate, what they see.
Right.
But if they see you and you're dressed, I'm not gonna say inappropriately or just not spending the time to dress the right way for that situation, that environment, then there is usually a problem. There's a saying. In many ways, you are the person you dress like. Anybody know what I meant by that? No? Any idea? Any feel?
It's in my head. I'm trying to get it.
If you dress like a respectable, young person, that person, whether it's true or not, if you dress like a hood or a thug, then you are, because in other people's minds, they've made you that. So, not that you should dress for other people, but you should dress appropriately. You should dress the right way. Right? Makes sense?
How do you dress like a thug?
What does a thug look like?
What does a thug look like? I don't know.
Like people that sag their pants,
I've met some very respectable people that sag their pants and wear hoodies. And,
doesn't make you a thug.
Yeah.
No,
but that's just
it
what
doesn't.
they see you as.
Exactly.
But that's just
they don't
deal.
know
They
what
don't
deep
know.
inside what you really are.
Yeah.
What is the point of the sagging pants? What projection is it supposed to mean, or what are they trying to project? Is that an image, or what's it projecting?
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't dress that way.
It's just a style, right?
You don't say pants.
My pants don't be sagging.
Yeah, I don't dress that way. I just don't feel that if a person does dress that way, that makes them look like a thug. Because honestly, what does a thug look like? You can't say what a thug looks like. Because a thug could be in a suit.
Yeah, you're right. And you're right. But when you look at a person dressed a certain way, well,
yeah, that goes.
Most people look at them and go, "Oh, yeah, I know where that person's coming from, and I'm just going to avoid them." And it has no basis. This could be the nicest, kindest person in the world, but he or she's dressed a certain way, and they're assessed that way.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying here. So, you are what you dress, you are how you look, and right or wrong, people are going to make an assessment.
Right.
So we can avoid some issues. I think back to you guys remember Trayvon Martin, right?
Mm-hmm.
The kid that was killed down in Florida,
Right.
had the hoodie on. I mean, come on, So kids, it's a style, it's a statement, it's a fashion statement. I get on him all the time about taking that hood off, particularly in public. Doesn't mean he's gonna rob them. We go in a store and he has a hoodie on. People are looking like, right? Am I wrong?
Since
that happened, now you see hoods everywhere.
Right. Yeah, it's more common. Yeah.
I don't think that particular situation is something like, oh, you could have avoided that by not wearing your hood. It's just late at night. It's cold outside.
Right.
I'm going to wear a hood on my head.
Sometimes cold wind gets in.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we need our jacket.
Yeah.
That doesn't portray him to be a thug.
Are
That should
black
be
people
murdered.
viewed differently because of a hood versus somebody white with a hood?
100%.
Yeah, and that just goes like I was saying. For example, when you said the woman clutched her purse when she saw you and because you're African American. That's the same way with someone's attire. You can't just judge them because this is how they how they decide to dress. Just like a person shouldn't judge us because we're African American and they aren't.
Just like
And you get the point. That's right. That's absolutely what's being said. But when we live in a world that's just not just us,
Yeah.
and a world where the power may be over there, and they see something and they make an assessment, then they feel there's a problem.
Right.
You may not, I may not, we may not, but they feel that there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And they even used, with Trayvon, they tried to justify, oh, he had a hoodie on, so what?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything.
Like I think he said like a Sprite and a Skittles, and I'm like, what that makes
Thought he
what,
had a gun or something.
Yeah.
and the way I saw, because when I was young when I heard about it, I was like, what he had, he said he had like a hoodie and like some juice, and he thought he had a gun. I'm like, the way in our generation is like, it's kind of devastating, because it's like, we kind of fear for ourselves, like, if we dress like this, is it gonna offend us the way he did?
Yeah.
Or it's gonna be like, we're used to it. Because like, how we come to school, we have our hoodie on, and they take our hoodie off, and it's not because the way he did it, but he was doing it because he's like, I can't tell how the temperature is in Florida, but the way he was like, it's kind of was raining outside, it's kind of dark, and he had a positive life.
Yes,
You should be able to wear a hoodie without dying.
right.
Okay.
It didn't even have to be raining. He could have just wanted to put his hoodie on, but that should have been okay. That's no reason, that's no justification for taking a person's life. So, to your point, it's very good. Through all of this, though, one of the messages to get across here is just being appropriately dressed, for whatever occasion, whatever situation there might be. We get into generational types of things, and it's so common. Like in school, the sweats, the sweat shorts, and the sweat gear. How it's so much the norm now. And as an older person, it took me accepting, and coming around that's where kids are, and that's acceptable. But it's appropriate, and you can wear that to many types of events, not formal, but even school. Pretty much that's pretty much what you guys wear at school, anymore. And that's that's the way it is. And even myself, and we've kind of adapted more of that, but we used not. We used to. We were, I guess, more formal, and I think I still am to a degree. His brother, my older son, he used to always say when he was growing up, "Daddy, why do you always dress up?" I don't always dress up. I'm like, you are. I have on jeans and a shirt. jeans and a sweater. It's not dressed up. He's like, yeah, it is. And you got no shoes and that sort of thing. So even I've kind of pulled back a little bit on that because, the time, the environment, and you guys have driven, the dress thing.
Well, when we wore jeans, they would normally starch to iron.
Exactly.
And if we had holes in our jeans, if it wasn't for financial, some people would have made fun of us.
Right.
So now they're taking the old jeans and they have holes in them, and now they're charging you more.
And you can't afford it. Yeah, they all hold it up. Yeah, you're right. That's
definitely true.
times have changed. Now that you have something you want. Okay. But yeah, that's kind of how it is now, and and things will continue to evolve. In terms of the clothing, and we think back to maybe it was applicable to you guys when you were growing up and younger, but I grew up, like a lot of some of you guys, 8 in my family. My mom was it. So in terms of dress and clothing, I mean it was pretty tough here at times, and I can still remember, trips to Goodwill. I mean, back then, going to Goodwill wasn't fashionable. I mean, kids do it now. It's like, hey, look what I got, and that sort of thing. But back then, you would be embarrassed, and wouldn't want to be seen going in there. Is it still like that now? I don't know. But
look, I'm like, what's Goodwill?
maybe a consignment or secondhand or a resale type of store. A thrift type store, yeah, Goodwill thrift store. But yeah, it was embarrassing back then. But some of my better clothes came from from a place like that.
I had them there, so I go to Goodwill. I was like, oh my gosh, please don't take me there. Please don't take me there.
But I bring that up because dressing your best and looking your best. I mean, you don't have to have the most expensive things and some secondhand things. When I grew up, secondhand was the way to go. And when I finally would get something new, I was embarrassed, like, what am I wearing? Because it's that sort of thing. But this too is more of times changing and situations types of things change. But just taking pride in what you're doing and what you wear and your clothing and that's what it's about, and being appropriately dressed for whatever situation you might encounter, be it something more fancy or something that's more scaled down, and not being first or afraid to dress up. I mean, there are times when you have to dress up, and then maybe a wedding or something, and you got to don a suit or a tie, and do it. No big deal. No problem. Go ahead.
Do you think when you overdress in certain situations, like you less easy to communicate with?
Being overdressed in a situation makes you.
Do you think people will be different? Or they don't communicate with people because you're overdressed?
I don't know. What do you guys think? If you went to someplace and you were overdressed or dressed more than the norm, so you're not appropriately dressed for that situation on the big side. If
you're not dressed for the situation or the occasion. I mean,
you're less approachable.
No, I mean you just got clothes on. However, if you're overdressed for an occasion, then you probably will be less approachable. If you're overdressed, for example, you're going to a nightclub on a Saturday night in a full tux,
wouldn't talk to you.
Yeah, nobody's gonna walk up to you and try
explain them what a nightclub is, but never.
Nobody's just you're not gonna be approachable.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a nightclub. It could be, just a friend's party or but somebody's party. And, that's why we talk about being appropriately dressed for whatever situation you might be dealing with, right?
Right.
And being dressed right, and it doesn't necessarily mean being overdressed or where you stand out in a crowd, but just dressed appropriately. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of what you're getting at. You fit in easier if you're dressed appropriately for whatever situation there might be. Wanted to talk a little bit about some tips on looking your best. It's been mentioned already, you know, the ironing of jeans. I mean, back in our day, I mean, our jeans would be like cardboard, you know, you get them from the cleaners, you have to go, just to get your foot in them back in the day, but now, you know, they wouldn't know anything about that.
They got too many holes in it.
Yeah, and even my jeans now, I mean, I don't deal with that anymore. In fact, you know, they'll come out of the washer and, you know, they're good to go, you know, and
No
that's,
crease?
yeah, no, that's gone, huh?
I still stay for my
I've kind of given in to the group, you know, it's easier, but yeah, I would have those jeans in the cleaners and, you know, get them starts or have my own, remember the sprayer, we'd spray them and just press them.
Oh,
Yeah, oh yeah, but that's old school, but, you know, I wanted to say that to say an iron. I mean, there's, you know, of course you guys have irons, you have ironing boards or cabinets or something. You take the time, you know, press the shirts out, press the wrinkles out of shirts that you're gonna wear. And know when you're not wearing like the athletic shirts and, you know, that sort of thing. And, you know, there are times when you do wear the shirts, but take the time, you know, get an iron, learn how to use that. And you guys know how to use irons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people are just comfortable with
With
being
wrinkles.
comfortable.
Yeah.
They just don't.
Well, comfortable being comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some people are comfortable with just, you know, waking up, putting their shirt on, and some sweatpants, and not ironing their shirt.
Get them out of the basket and
Or out.
kind of shake them a little bit.
Or
And,
smell them when come to
Just-
sit
you know, not everybody come from a place where people starch their clothes or have
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
creases from here to there in
Yeah.
their jeans,
Right.
stuff like that. So
Right.
we can't really, like, time changes.
Right.
Time
Oh, yeah.
changes like
Yeah.
seasons. So we can't expect everybody to be like, oh, well, we did this many years ago. You should take the time to do this. You can't
Absolutely.
expect that.
yeah.
Money changes. Everything
Yeah.
changes.
And we should change. Like I said, I'm not starting these things
Right.
anymore. They're coming right out of the washer. But as far as a shirt though, I mean, I wouldn't wear a shirt that's, you know, in the dryer and it's wrinkled. And I mean, I would take the time and hopefully, you know, you guys would do much the same. But,
Why did it change?
I don't know. That's a good question. It just happened. Yeah. And I think part of it was I viewed it as being old. You know, okay, I know I'm old, but, you know, and I'm fine with it. And it's a good question. Why have you not changed?
I feel good when my jeans are starched.
Right.
I feel it centers that I took the time to come out of the house.
Uh-huh.
Now my daughter says, Dad, you're the worst dressed in the history.
Oh yeah, I get that too.
But yeah, I think some of that is habit and how we felt, and it's hard to pull away from some of the value of sitting there
Right.
ironing,
Yeah.
watching the football game. So it brings me back a little bit, is why I haven't changed. But you may see me come here, these mentor meetings with a tie. The next meeting, you may see me full of grass from cutting grass.
Right.
Question I have for you all, if I came in here with a tie, suit and tie, would that make me more approachable? Or if I came here with grass all over me, would you still approach me the same way?
Yeah, I would approach you the same way.
the same way. Because when you wear a suit, it's like professional. Because you're dressing like, you know, professionally as a man. When you dress like as like, you know, when you got brass stains and all that, that tells us that you like you're
Also
working.
been working.
Yeah.
That will be the case.
Okay, covering some tips on looking your best and dressing your best. Not all us are good at coordinating. You know, shirts, pants, ties. He thinks I have no idea at all, but I do, and I did it long before he was even born. So that's proof of it. But you know, if you're not sure on dress, I mean, there's a mom, a sister, you know, women love to offer their input on dress. So don't be afraid to ask, you know, and sometimes they go overboard, like I'll take out a shirt and a tie and, you know, a suit and all and kind of hang it, this is what I'm gonna wear tomorrow, and then I go and come back and my shirt is different than my tie and that sort of thing. It's like, oh no, I just kind of go with it. I don't have to ask for it, it's just there. And sometimes I'll purposely put just something that's way off. Because, you know, either I'm not sure exactly what I want to wear with it, but I'll put it way off and hang it, and she'll come in and fix it. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's what I'll do. But the point in this is, you know, if you're not sure about dress, you know, on some occasion, because from time to time, you guys, I think all of you, you know, have to dress up, whether it's a wedding or a party or that sort of thing. So, if you're not sure, ask. I don't know if you would ask.
Not sure.
Excuse me?
Oh, I ask for opinions all the time.
Oh, do you?
Fashion.
Okay.
My auntie, that's what I do. My how I dress. I
Yeah.
do it for my auntie. You know, I ask her all the time.
Well, that's good to hear, because I think we guys, we're less likely to want to ask for some opinion on clothes that night.
This shirt is right for us.
Yeah, but I guess girls are more, hey, what do you think? And yeah, so, but no, don't be afraid to ask, you know, get someone else's opinion if you're not sure about how something's gonna look together. We kind of mentioned this already, except the fact that sometimes you're gonna have to dress up, you're gonna have to wear something, you know, that's a little dressier than you would like, and don't be afraid that people are gonna shun you or push you aside or not communicate with you, you know, if you're dressed up. But if it's a situation where everybody's dressed up, then, you know, you should be okay. Talked about, you know, if you had paid money for jeans that's ripped or torn, just make sure that the occasion that you're wearing those is the appropriate occasion, you know, appropriate place. Don't just wear it anywhere. I'm not gonna say don't wear it, because it's out there, it's coming. I don't know why you would spend that extra money for some ripped up jeans, but people do, you know, and that's what's important. I'm sorry. Yeah. You know, for us guys, you know, us girls, make sure wear the buckle at the waistline, the belt buckle at the waistline. That's sagging stuff. I mean, that's, you know, I hope that was a fad and it would be long gone by now, but you still see it. And the depressing part is you see it, I'm seeing it more in older guys than younger guys now. And I'm like, what's up with that?
They were younger guys.
Yeah.
It's been around that long. That's what it is. Yeah, I'm starting to see that more with older guys. And maybe they're not, maybe they're still young and look old, but
No, they
it's just.
were like how you are. They were older. They were young at one point. We wanted to dress like a thug. They just never grew out of it. They never changed.
Yeah.
People don't change. They feel comfortable in
Yeah.
a certain way. And honestly,
Oh, I'm sorry. You
they
said
feel
dress like
comfortable
a
certain
what?
way.
You said dress like a what?
A thug.
What does a thug dress like?
I did this because you said that.
Okay, I'm just checking.
I don't know what thug is.
All right. Yeah, but you know, it's still there, and hopefully it'll go away. And if we could start with this group not doing that, and you know, maybe encouraging those around us to not, then maybe it'll go away.
But why do we encourage people to do something that they feel comfortable doing? Like, if it's not, a person dressing a certain way is not harming you, like physically, or just harming the community physically, why are we trying to take them out their comfort zone? It's like someone telling you, like, hey, we think you should sag and not dress like this. You're going to be like, excuse me, what? So why should we take people out their comfort
I
zone?
see it like if someone robbed a bank, why should we not encourage them to not rob a bank?
That's harming.
I know.
Man.
Well, but I think
That's actually a
I
problem.
know, it is.
I think
It
with
is,
the
but it's wrong.
saggy jeans, we don't come out of our house to see people's underwear. And so I think that's the bigger issue. That's offensive to me.
It's offensive to the majority of people.
But
So
you gotta
why
also
would you
realize.
want to offend?
I mean, you gotta also realize that people, like, we live somewhere where it's not a crime, it's not prohibited.
Yeah.
So if it offends you how another person dressed, maybe that's something
Maybe
you
got
should
wrong.
work on. Like something you should work on being, you should take things to the heart so much. Like a person dressed in a certain way could never make me offended.
Is walking around with the pants off and just your underwear, is that illegal?
No. Is it?
I
never knew it
Okay,
was.
then that doesn't make
Like,
sense.
underwear off.
My point. Yeah.
Oh, underwear off. Yeah, I thought you meant like walking around in underwear.
Then
Well,
that-
underwear off.
that's
Yeah. Yeah.
But where I was trying to go with that is that's offensive, and
Yeah.
if I guess it would be illegal. Well, then I don't know.
But
it would be extremely offensive, and it's not much different in my opinion than than you showing your butt, and that's no different than walking around in your underwear. If your pants are down to your knees, so
and if you want to do that,
it's offensive.
I'm gonna look straight and mind my business.
Yeah.
Because that just has nothing to do with me.
When you ask whether or not it's legal, it depends upon jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So one community will say indecent exposure.
Right.
But I recall when I first heard of something called a nudist colony. Well, you're not going to get on the Prospect bus nude, but there is a place you can go where they dress in the nude, and it's called a nudist colony. I've never been to one. I don't. It doesn't attract me. I'm not curious about it, but I know that they exist.
Right.
So to answer the question as it relates to illegality, I guess it depends upon the jurisdiction.
Yeah, and it probably does. Yeah. And your sanity. I think if you were to walk around like that, of course, the police would probably question whether you're sane and whether you need medical help.
Right.
And in my opinion, sagging like that is much the same. In my opinion, yeah, much the same. So, all right. So to wind down, because I'm running over in time, just some rules. If a person is not comfortable in their clothes, in what they're wearing, much to your effect, he creates this discomfort for himself or herself and for those around him.
Yeah.
So, but the sagging thing, how much discomfort are you causing for everybody around?
Yeah.
Probably quite a bit.
I mean, that all depends on the people you're around, though.
Well,
It all depends on the people who you're around. Because me personally, I can't speak for everybody. I'm the type of person who, if you're not harming people physically or the community, I mind my business when it comes to anything you're doing, because I don't need you in my business and worry about what I'm doing.
And most people
And
do,
that's how issues accumulate. Like you're telling somebody like, okay, well you're annoying people that you're sagging, and they can be like, excuse me, they take it the wrrong way, and there goes a senseless murder. Why? Because you're worried about somebody sagging. So it just, like you said, things can be avoided. Things can be avoided by just minding my business. So I would not worry about how you wear clothes.
and that's why people get away with doing it, because people mind.
It's also not a crime, so you can't get away with
And that's
not
why,
doing a crime.
and that's why people do not approach them.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make it right, and that doesn't make it less.
It was never wrong though. Like I never knew it was a wrong way to wear clothes.
Well, no, there isn't.
I get what you're saying. I understand you're saying like it's not how should I say, like that appearance is not up to par, but we cannot
There are social numbers,
yeah.
and
Definitely.
I think that's what we're talking here.
Mm-hmm.
And something like that is.
Becoming on. As
I think at one point it looked like with a certain segment of the population of people. Yeah.
yeah, it's absurd. Yeah, honestly, I do think like, well, why do you want to sag? But I also realize it's not my business to even
Right.
be uncomfortable about it.
Yeah.
Because I don't see a point in it either, but it's just not my business.
Like a lot of times when I see it, I come and shake my head and like, this is not how I.
Yeah, that's not something I would wear. I wouldn't
Right.
dress that way, but it's also something that I have no a power to sit here and say, hey, pull your pants. Like it's just
I mean, you
out of your
just
control.
being yourself.
Yeah, like you said, if people are dressed uncomfortably, they're going to be uncomfortable, and the people around them are going to be uncomfortable. So if that's how they're comfortable, let people be comfortable how they
Like
are.
just let them be themselves.
Yeah, just be
You
themselves.
can be yourself. 'Cause then if you not aware of what he wanna wear and he's not aware of what you wear, then it's gonna be like
a problem. And that goes what he was talking about, the community supporting each other and being one. We shouldn't judge people like, oh, well, you must be insane. Like you said, if you see someone sagging, you're going to think that they're insane or they need medical help just as well
Well,
as you
actually,
would think.
that comment was about if they were walking around in just their own.
And then you
Not
said, and I
just-
would think the same if they were sagging. So that's like, you know what I'm saying? It's judging them and not, we all can support each other. If you're not doing anything wrong, but your hands are just a little not put up, I'm not just going to judge you and think
But
you're
yeah,
crazy.
if your underwear is showing, and I think when I've asked people, hey, I don't understand this dress, can you explain to me why?
Right.
I don't get an answer.
it's
I don't know why I do that. I just do it.
You know,
I
and,
don't get an answer.
and I think if we look at and assess the person who are the people
Yeah.
who dress like that, it's a certain profile of person. Am I wrong?
What do you mean by that?
Profile in terms of most of the folks who I've seen. I guess in schools you can't do that, right? In schools you can't walk around like that in schools.
They tell us not to do it, but they get away with it.
Yeah, you can do what you want to do. We live in a world where we can. Yeah, we can do what you want to do.
Yeah. The principal.
They
Because
expect
so,
that's how
at
it
school, we're going to be educated, not to be worried about what clothes is on our body. We just
Well,
learn.
no, because schools have dress codes.
Oh no.
Now, whether the schools do have dress codes,
Yeah.
whether the kids abide by those dress codes or not is different, and whether it's enforced is different. But the schools do have dress codes, and sagging would be on, depending on the
school,
the
or
school.
principal.
Yeah, and I would say most schools. First, let me say, I would guess that all schools have a dress code.
Yeah.
Do all the schools enforce it? No.
Not at all.
No, they
There's
don't.
some that, but there's some other schools that does.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I know the school that we deal with,
Yeah.
they enforce it. To include hoodies,
Right.
that sort of thing. I mean, that you can get kicked out. So just doesn't make it right, and when you're in the streets and you see a certain person or people sagging, they're usually, in terms of their, I'm not gonna say economic status, but just
Their personality.
just the personality and their goals and their direction and who they are is probably less than where you would want to be.
There goes a form of judgment though.
That's a judgment,
I'm friends with a lot of people who are probably looked at as important, and I know a state rep right now that that I'm sure that works up in Jet City and from Kansas City, Missouri, who sags all the time.
Okay, give me two or three others who do that. There's always an outlier.
But what I'm saying is, you can't determine a person's
You can't, but when you look out there and you drive up and down these streets and you see someone like that, there's a great chance, there's drugs, there's something illegal, there's something else behind that person.
No, sir,
okay.
that's not true.
We'll have to differ on that.
That's like men who do, what I'm saying? Like I see on TV all the time. I watch around TV a lot. Those men who do fraud, they're always in suits with briefcases. That's like me looking at you if you came in with a suit and a briefcase. Like you commit fraud. You should be in the feds because you have a suit on. And I know men who commit fraud wear suits.
All right, we'll just differ on that, but
Yes, sir.
and move on. But you're not doing it. Why aren't you doing it?
That's just not me, but I don't judge people.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I'm not saying judge people. I'm saying, if they're there and if it's occurring, and I think if you would really open up, you would agree that a lot of the folks who are walking up and down the street like that, there is something else involved with them. Go ahead.
I mean, so how could you get offended about people outside of the black race judging people because of their sagging pants and calling them thugs?
Outside of the.
Yeah, people like say a white person judges you because they see your suit color, they see your pants, and then you get offended by that. But how could you get offended by that if you're doing the same thing?
No,
So you,
I'm not saying I'm offended by it. It occurs. I don't like to see it,
Right.
and I can avoid it. I don't have to be around it. And if that's what they choose for their life, then they're good with it. Then I'm okay with it. But it doesn't make it right, and opinions are formed based off of it, and not just by me, but by the police, and that sort of thing. So if you want to avoid some issues, if you want to bypass those types of issues, then you bypass that type of behavior and that type of performance.
Well,
and that's what it comes down. And that's really our reason for being here, to ensure that you guys aren't, and that if others don't, then that might be one less police disruption that occurs, or one less, situation that you encounter.
Oh. I didn't know that part.
Okay. Dress to your strength, and we kind of talked about that a little bit. Knowing, a gentleman or a person knows what their strengths are in their dress. So kind of stick to your strength, and that's always important. Size, I kind of like this. Just because a garment comes in your size, there's no reason to assume that you can wear it, right? So just kind of keep that in mind, and that kind of goes both ways, guys and girls. Just because it comes to your size doesn't mean, you can wear it.
That's crazy.
On your appearance and on your dress, compliment, someone compliment, accept the compliment.
Yeah, look, I had the right. It's a lot of things you're not supposed to wear in society today, according to him. I should have brought a pen and paper.
Yeah, you should have.
I think
I didn't know we were here in order to say that, hey, dressing this way is not right, or because you keep saying just because people like to do it doesn't make it right. So when did it become wrong? When is it wrong to wear what you want to wear?
I'm speaking from a societal term.
But when did it become wrong?
Well, I think a good example is, for me, I don't like the skinny jeans. They just don't fit me right.
Exactly.
But I know that in y'all generation, it fits y'all. I mean, that, with that,
Just because you come in your size doesn't mean exactly.
And I think the difference is when y'all wear skinny jeans, although that's not my preference.
Yeah.
Others don't look at you in a different way. I think sometimes with the others look at you. Now, I'm not for the judgment, because I understand that just because somebody's sad, that's not who. Exactly. There's a lot of things that occur because they may sag because I just like the feel of it. I don't, because I'm out working, so I can't be pulling on my pants cutting grass.
Exactly.
But I think some of those differences, and I think what he's saying is, let's avoid some of the situations based on other people's judgment. Even though the sagging for me is not the sagging, I don't want to see your underwear. I don't want to see a plumber's underwear. That's why, to me.
Yeah.
But I think within this, it should create a dialogue where we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Where we can kind of understand. Now, if there is something in there, why somebody's sagging, then we need to address it. If I'm trying to sag because I like it, that's one thing. If I'm sagging because I'm trying to be somebody who I'm not, then that's an issue we should address.
Yeah. And
So I never talk behind the camera, right?
Okay.
I do have a statement, I guess.
Okay.
I think the dress code, more so, I don't think it's for judgment to be passed.
Right.
I think it's more so to raise your consciousness of perception.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just one of those things, like if you see a straight man in a dress, what are you gonna think? You're gonna think, oh, he cute, he's straight. Or you're gonna be like, ooh. I think it's more so perception more than anything. So I don't think he's saying like judgment, a thug look like this, but if there's a nerdy guy in high school, right, and he want to hang out with the cool kids that sell drugs, I don't know if I'm quote, but that sell drugs, would he dress like his nerdy self with the collar and stuff, or would he dress like they dress to fit in, to be more accepted? Yeah. I mean, I think it's more like You know what I mean? Like perception. Have you ever seen like Bringing Down the House with Steve Martin and Queen Latifah?
Yeah, I seen that.
Yeah.
So he's a lawyer,
Yeah.
white guy, you know, but he's trying to go into this nightclub that he doesn't know what a nightclub is. But he's trying to go into this club. He can't wear his suit into the club because they're gonna be like, ah, he's an art. You know what I mean?
Right.
He has to fit the description so he can blend in. So I think it's more of perception instead of judgment.
And that's also where I go with saying Jesse. You know, he's not that type of guy. He doesn't dress like how he tried to fit in a thug. So he's actually a lawyer. He wears a suit. So are you telling me that because he had that on that made him a thug? Like, no, he still wasn't a thug. So
Yeah, but
that's
he
what I was
just
trying to
wanted
say
to
when I
fit
said.
in.
Yeah, but that's what I was trying to say when I said that you cannot judge a person just based off what they're wearing. You gotta realize, like, maybe when you all grew up and you are our ages, I talked earlier today, it was Generational Gap on G-Rap, and it was certain things that happened then that is a lot different now today. For example, I remember Granddad said something about the parents will always take the teacher's word and so forth and so on. It'll be like that. And it's just the same with the kids. I feel like, I may be wrong, but I feel like then and now, we are more not caring about opinions or how people feel about us or perception than back then. So now that we are more outspoken and we're more comfortable with being ourselves than people were back then, it's looked at as wrong, it's not right, it's a problem. And it's not a problem. You should be happy that people are able to express themselves how they want to without caring about what someone behind them would think, the white man would think about me. I just wouldn't care.
Okay, another question. I'll be quiet.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, we enjoy it.
We're
So
all
this
over your time.
perception thing, like you said, you don't care about, your group doesn't care about perception, or is it that you don't know that you're supposed to be aware of perception?
I mean, I know about it. I know that I should be aware of it. That's what people want me to do, is be aware of perception. But should I care about perception?
So you do it at a defiance?
No, because how are you to tell me that, hey, you should care about perception? You shouldn't tell me like, hey, you should care about what people think of you. I'm not defiant because I don't care about being me.
Well, wouldn't they go back to the comment he said that it's not what you are, it's what they think you are. Like when the police bother you, it's not because of what you really are, it's because of what they thought you were.
Okay. Now let me
You
tell
know what I mean?
And now let me show you that that's not who I am.
Yeah, but how am I supposed to know because you dress like this air quote thug? Like how am I supposed to
By
know?
approaching you, you're about to have a conversation.
Usually you want, with the police,
Yeah.
are they really going to give you the opportunity to prove
Exactly.
who you are?
That's
They
fine.
will react to what they see.
But I'm not
to
gonna
that
live.
perception.
Yeah, I understand solely what y'all saying, but personally, me, I will not live my life based off of making a perception or trying to give someone an image of me. That's just not me. So if I was a person who felt like, okay, you know what, I want to sag even if I'm some lawyer, but I'm not in a suit, I want to sag, or I want to dress like how somebody look at me and think I'm a thug, and that's what I want to do because that's what I want to do, and that's just me. And I feel like that's a leadership mentality.
And that's fine.
Honestly,
And,
that's
and
a
you
leadership
can, and you
mentality.
can do that.
Mhm.
But you have to also be prepared with any repercussion that comes from that, whether it's with the police or
Yeah.
with others. And you know, so
But that's what you train your kids to be, leaders. So there shouldn't be that's like telling your child, hey, I need you to be a leader, but there's going to be repercussions behind it. There's going to be some problems based on, you know what I'm saying? Because that's leadership ability. It takes a leader to not care about a perception of the next person and to do something and be comfortable in their own selves.
yeah,
and
there
not
are
care
all
about
kinds
being
of
judged.
leaders. There are bad
Yeah.
leaders and there are good leaders. So
Mhm.
if you're leading in the wrong direction, then
But how could clothes be a bad direction? That's what we're
Who
speaking
said?
about. We're speaking about clothing.
Yeah, but that's not what you just said. You just said it as a general.
No, I
You
said
can lead
me
in the
being
wrong
comfortable
direction.
in what I want to, how I'm wearing, and you know that's me being showing leadership ability.
Well, for you, yes.
Yeah.
Who are you leading and what are you leading? I mean,
That's showing that that people seeing that I'm not caring about what the next person thinks of me or how they perceives me, they're going to look up to me, and then now that person is going to be like, you know what? Maybe I should be the same way. I shouldn't care about what a person thinks of me,
and
they'll do the
that's
same way.
great. You're leading them in the
But
right
I do
direction.
think
That's
that
what
the
it's
point you raised, it is some of the same things that they told Martin Luther King. When you out here leading in this difficult situation, you will experience repercussions.
Right,
And for him, he said it was worth it,
very much.
Martin Luther King. So we just understand it. And leadership, no matter what type of leader, you are going to experience some repercussions.
And I would just ask the millennials to be patient with us.
Yeah.
Because it's a transition of thought.
Well,
And I remember my son, who was a millennial, he wanted to start wearing dreads. He started rocking his dreads. And I'm like, he's working in the public, and, I'm thinking, oh, no. But he said, no. He took the leadership. Like, Mom, this is just who I am. I'm going to do it. I'm still who I am. I'm the best server. This is that my hair shouldn't matter. And I thought, oh, no. But then as he kept growing it and growing them,
You accepted it.
and his tips were getting bigger and bigger, and he got promoted. And before I'm thinking, wow. So he does wear his hair up in a bun, right? He's not just wearing it down, but that's a transition that we as the get in line thinking has to change.
And we went through it. We went through it too in our generation as well. Because when you talk about the hair, I mean, I had a fro that was rivaled the Jacksons and the Silvers and all those other folks. And my mom threatened all the time to cut it off. To take me and cut it off.
And just as
but you stayed to your youth. I mean, why didn't you cut it?
No, it wasn't I like the style.
Yeah, and that's exactly what my son did.
It's kind of like
but it worked out.
Yeah, that's
and
all.
then
My
my senior year in high school, I cut it all off.
It works
Not
out
much
good.
longer than it is now.
And I feel like, just as y'all want us to be patient, that's understanding.
Yeah.
We should be patient, but we also want y'all to be understanding and open-minded when it comes to us as well. Just like we're being patient with you, why don't you form a way of being open-minded to even see our way of thinking or why we feel or why we do the things we do before you decide to say that's not right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dave.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we're getting into the discussion I want to engage as it relates to that generation.
And we've gone way over. So we'll wind this up.
Do it like you did.
But no, some good points. Great discussion. I really
It's a
appreciate
continuation, really.
that. Yeah, it is. But yeah, I guess some defiant and some lack of acceptance. But I think we eventually come around. And when it's more positive, we're more likely to come around than if it's something that's, and I say positive in societal terms. Is it readily acceptable by the masses? Some things, the hair wasn't, the dreads weren't, and it's over time it's kind of worn out. I'm still waiting for this sagging thing to win out.
The what?
The sagging.
Sagging.
I don't know if it ever will win out to the point where it's acceptable. There's still a lot of younger folks who, pale. That's the last thing that they want to see, as well as the older folks and the adults. So some things work its way around to become norm, and some things fall by the wayside. And I think that might be one that will eventually fall. All right, so that's about it in terms of dress code. Great discussion. Appreciate all your input, everybody's input. Anything else that want to share, discuss, address that we as adults should be accepting?
That's how you're saying. Like I was getting a point. It's like it's okay for for parents. Like you want us to let us know. Like I want you to dress how you are, but the way I see it, it's not cool. But when we come out the outside world and you see how we got pride in ourselves, like, look, Mom, I'm proud of who I am.
I would love that. That's
like, I'm proud of being who I am. I'm proud to be like, people might see me wearing this, and they'll think like, oh, he don't have nothing. His mom not giving him home training, but they really see that he has pride in himself. He has more mentality of himself because he wakes up every day. He has a great smile. He don't worry about what
overlooked perception.
Yeah, like he don't worry about what people say. Like, oh, you look like this, you look like that. In our point of view, we look good in ourselves. We look.
Why does that sound so rebellious?
I have a question though for you all. Okay, so you know how you were saying like just because that's what you want to do or that's how you all see everything like sagging, that doesn't make it right. So I guess that would make it wrong. What makes how you dress correct or right? Like what would make that okay for society versus someone who sags? Like what would make that okay?
Well, you could look at just the numbers. How many people sag versus how many people wear their pants straight. So that, what's norm?
So you give you an example of where I was quote unquote rebellious. In my fraternity, everyone that I know of has a brand. I'm one of the few brothers that didn't get a brand. My rationale for not getting a brand is because they branded slaves.
Right.
So I knew I would never get a brand. And so, although that's the norm within our fraternity, in society, that's looked upon, that's frowned upon having the brand.
Yeah.
In our fraternity, it's almost looked upon as to why don't you have a brand? But my rationale, my reason, that's why I was asking why people say, is I'm not a slave, you're not branding me, and they also branded cows and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I'm never gonna have a brand.
Well, my question was just what makes it right though. So you say look at the numbers. So how do we find out how many people sag versus suits?
You tell me what makes, you're asking the question, what makes it right? That you're showing your butt in public. Nothing.
No, I didn't say that. I said what makes it right when you wear. Because you said that sagging was wrong. So dressing that way or portraying to be a thug is wrong.
That's like asking what makes it right to wear any clothes.
No, sir.
Well, there's no difference in that comment. What makes it right to wear any clothes?
No, sir.
I mean, because
you said that was wrong. So I'm asking you what makes this right.
The sagging?
Yeah. So I'm saying what makes because you said you would hope everybody irons their clothes or pull their pants up. Why is that right to you? That's what I'm asking. What makes that correct and not versus sagging?
What makes wearing clothes the right way, the way they were designed and intended to be worn?
Well, who told you that? I'm saying
no.
I'm just asking you a question.
Clothing are designed to be worn a certain way. That makes it right.
I didn't know that.
That makes it right. Otherwise, you'd wear it on your head, or it's not made to be worn on your head. It's made to be worn a certain way. They were designed to be worn a certain way. That makes it right.
Well, I mean, we can't.
Clothing was not designed. Pants were not designed to be worn at your knees. That wasn't the design. That wasn't the intent. Mm-hmm. So does it make it wrong? I don't know if it makes it wrong, but it's not right. No, it's not worn the way it was intended to wear.
So this is the thing. When I'm asking you this question, you're answering the question by telling me how you feel that is wrong.
No. I'm answering your question. I'm saying clothing were designed to be worn a certain way. That's what makes it right. And I don't want to spend any more time on this, but answering your question, that last question, they were designed a certain way to be worn. Mm-hmm. That's what makes it right. And I wanted to comment on yours. You mentioned, I mean, adults come around. I mean, there was a time wearing, the shorts and shirts everywhere. I mean, that wasn't commonly acceptable, but now it is. So, and I've accepted it. Now, it's still difficult for me to accept wearing it when it's 30 degrees outside, 38 degrees outside. I still struggle with that because I understand.
Generation, it's like, it can be 40-something, we wear shorts. You're telling us, like, you need to wear pants or something. And we're like, and how we feel is like, it's not cold to us.
Okay.
Right. It's like, it's not cold to us.
And that's my point. So you guys have made it more acceptable. And it's acceptable. Do I like it? Look at what my son over there wearing. You think I like that? But he's wearing it.
Are you comfortable?
So I mean, I don't know what the temperature is out there, but I mean, I would never have done that, and my folks would never have allowed that. I mean, they'd be popping me across my head, because they understand what could come out of being underdressed like that from a medical perspective. But
never look at him as a leader. He didn't care about the perception of what parents think about what he wears.
Well, you know what? That's part of it, but the other part of it is the parent, because trust me, if I wanted him to have on some pants, he would have on some. So it's me coming around to him, to accept him the way he is.
Makes sense.
Yes. Unlike when I was a kid, no, you're not doing it. They don't like it. You gonna get your behind and fix it, or they beat you down. So that's a change because we don't do that anymore. We still want to. We still think about it, but we're not so much doing that.
I remember, before my grandma passed, she showed me a picture of how she was dressed. And it kind of made it, I was like, this is what y'all. And then I kind of background of how we dress now. And she was like, you know, she wasn't, the way she was telling me, it was like, don't judge a book by its cover.
At all, ever.
But at the same time, I kind of feel like the same way as y'all. Like, I would feel concerned about myself of how I would dress because it's like, if I dress this way, how would my parents would look at it? It's versus me judging what my parents would wear. But the way, if we accept it as like, look, I feel good about it. I feel more pride about it. With the sagging, I can't say from my point of view of how we accept it as it, but all I can say is it's not cool for us, but I can't explain it, I can't take it offended to other people that are offended with sagging. But at the same time, you're telling us like, we should dress as, gentlemen, as ladies and gentlemen. But at the same time, we kind of like, we got over it as kids, when we were kids, it was like, this is what we had to dress. But as we got older, it's like, we feel for ourselves like how y'all was feeling. Like, we understand like, okay, we can, we understand like, we think about it like, should we wear this or should we not wear it?